be traveling up to 10,378 feet. It'll take us about 15 minutes to get there. We're traveling at 13.7 miles an hour, which is 20 feet per second. The tram was first constructed from 1964 to 1966 at a cost of just over $2 million. Give you a good estimate on what that would cost us today. The two cables we are riding on and also the other tram were replaced in 1997 for $1.9 million. It would cost over $30 million to build this in today's economy. The way things are going next week, it could be between 60 to 70 million. But if you look out either side of the tram, you'll notice we're coming up to what looks like a large trail. That trail is going to wrap under the tram, go off to my left. It's going to switch back and go to Tower 1. That is the original access road they used to bring manpower and material to build Tower number 1. It also took over 5,000 helicopter flights to complete the entire tram. But Tower 1 stands over 200 foot tall, has an 18-degree pitch back toward Albuquerque to give us a little smoother ride. And speaking of that ride, we're going to get a little swing and sway as we go over the top. So right about now, throw your hands in the air and scream wee. Okay, if you look out the opposite side of the cabin from me, take your gaze to the top of that hill up there. You'll see a large boulder perched at a 45-degree angle, straight across from us. Looks like a cannon about to fire on the Sandias. We call that Cannon Rock. That is the same size as this tram car. Have you turn around, look out my side real quick. You notice another large boulder perched on that little peak over there. They say it looks like a golf ball about to be teed off, so we named that one Golf Ball Rock. That is twice the size of this tram car. Okay, there's a ravine off to the left just in front of us. About 3 mornings out of a week that I've been here about a month, I've seen a mama bear and baby bear traveling up that ravine. So imagine you're that mama bear, follow that ravine up. It's going to go through 2 little rock cliffs. You'll notice where the trees start to grow in the bottom of that ravine. Look just above those trees. You might notice what looks like a stack of rocks or a totem pole.
Yep.
Yeah.
With our really original names, we named that Totem Pole Pinnacle. It is actually one rock that has been eroded away over time, and it looks like multiple rocks. It stands 7.5 stories tall.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to be coming up to what they call critical point. I don't like to call it critical point anymore because it tends to scare people. But off to the right a little bit, you'll notice what looks like a small rock slide coming up. It's right about there. That is the only point they had to use dynamite to blast a large boulder away to make room for the tram. Now, about that bear I was talking about, our large animals up here are bear, mountain lion, mule deer, and bobcat. In the mornings during our maintenance run, we don't know why, but the deer like to frequent these little saddles over my right shoulder. In the mornings, we'll actually see them getting up ready for the day, taking curlers out of their antlers, putting on some makeup. In the afternoons, about this time, during the summer seasons, we can actually see them bedded down in the shady areas to get out of the heat of the day. But if you're looking down, you notice a lot of these trees are dead. That is because about 8 years ago, we had a real bad drought. A small beetle came in, called the bark beetle. It devastated this side of the Sandias. It's actually devastating a lot of the forests throughout our country. Okay, opposite side of the cabin from me, you see this rock face we're passing. To me, it looks like Paul Bunyan took an ice cream scoop out of it. But here, and just above it, in the early 30s, was struck by lightning. They estimated over 400 ton of rock was blasted away.
Wow.
When it rains, these are granite rocks. It will soak up the water. When lightning strikes it, it will turn to steam instantly and explode. Okay, we're coming up to Tower 2. It stands much shorter than Tower number 1. It is only 80 feet tall. But if you look around, you notice there is no access road. It was impossible for them to build one. So almost 3,000 of those 5,000 helicopter flights I mentioned were dedicated to building this one tower. And in just a sec, you folks in the front, do me a quick favor. Lift your left foot and lean back a little bit, and we'll clear that rock right there. Here comes a swing and a sway. Oh, wait a minute, give it a sec.
Oh, no.
Here it comes. That one likes to sneak up on you. Okay, my sister Tram is coming up to my right. Good photo opportunity for you folks that can actually get the picture. As we pass, we will be at our halfway point. That is because the cables that are pulling them up and down the mountain also pull us up and down the mountain. There they go. Oh, there's right along. We're traveling at the same exact speed. It just looks like we're going slow because we're so high off the ground. We're going to experience a little slowdown to go over some duct tape and Bondo we have on our cables here. As we do slow down, for you folks that are up against the windows, go ahead and press your face against them and look down. We are now at our highest point off the ground, which is just over 990 feet. Almost the height of the Empire State Building. Makes you feel any better, about 4.5 seconds to the bottom. But if you're looking out the opposite side from me, you notice these pine trees. To me, they look like they would make beautiful Christmas trees this Christmas. But you would need 120-foot ceilings. A lot of those trees down there are 100 to 115 foot tall. Shows you have no depth perception. We are now in what they call the clear span. Between the tower we went over and the upper terminal, there are no other towers. We are on 1.7 mile of nothing but cable. We are the third longest clear span in the world, the longest clear span in the Western Hemisphere. We used to be the longest tram in the world until a small country near Russia called Georgia beat us out by under a half a mile. Okay, there's a rock face just opposite side of the cabin from me. You get a lot of rock climbers that will hike up here and climb this. I climb. You will not catch me on that. That is a granite face. They must pre-climb it. That means no ropes, no anchors. The anchors will not hold. But they will perch themselves on those rock outcroppings to get their pictures taken by folks like you. Yeah, they think it's to boost their egos. They're like, look at me. So we have named that rock face Ego Boost. We are now in Echo Canyon. If you look down, you notice these trees are a lot more green and lush. That is because there is a natural spring that runs right down through there. It is the only natural spring on this side of the Sandias. Everything else around has to rely on rainfall and snowmelt. I rode on the outside of this last week for fun, and we stopped right here during our maintenance run, and I heard the waterfall back there. It's beautiful. So I'm planning a backpacking trip up in there. Okay, if you were paying attention, you notice I mentioned lightning strikes. If you look around us now, you'll see a lot of rock slides. 98% of those were caused by lightning strikes because we do not have earthquakes here. The other 2% are caused by the wind eroding the granite away over time. As you're looking around, you might notice there's a pink color to these granite faces. That is a small mineral. It's a small crystal called feldspar. About 15 minutes before sunset, the sun's rays will hit it just right, and this entire side of the Sandias will glow a reddish pink. We believe when the Spanish came over, they saw this, thought it looked like a slice of a watermelon, so we think that's why they named it the Sandia Mountain. Sandia in Spanish means watermelon. Okay, out the opposite side of the cabin from me, almost straight across at the highest peak up there. You might make out what looks like a cabin. Make out the windows. That is called the Kiwanis cabin. It's going to be just behind us a little bit on the highest peak. It is called the Kiwanis cabin. It was built in the 30s by the CCC, which is the Civilian Conservation Corps. They built that just in case the weather got bad up here. Also, they got tired of having to travel up and down the mountain to do their job every day, so they'd stay in that at night. The first one they built burnt down. The second one, due to the high winds on that peak, was literally blown off the peak. They got smart like the third little piggy and built that one out of stone. It is a 1.5 mile hike, one way. It's a real simple hike. Trails are well marked. It's worth going to see. You might see people climb on top of it. I do not recommend that. The rocks they used are as slick as ice, wet or dry. And if you notice, it is on a cliff.
What could go wrong?
Now for some more useless information. About 300 million years ago, what they called the Pennsylvania period, this whole entire area was under a sea. We have a sediment layer at the top. As you're walking these trails, glance down once in a while. You might find fossils of seashell, fish, and some ancient aquatic plant life. They've also found dinosaur bones up here. For you folks that have seen the movie Night at the Museum, off to the right a little bit, if you see where the water scar is, follow that scar up through these bushes, and it might dead end into a face. It's got a big square nose, bush right in front of it. I'm the first one to see this. You can actually see it better in the other tram, but I got to name it Dum Dum Rock from the movie. It's just to the right below us now. There's a tree, little bush right in front of it. Okay, as we dock, we will experience a little bump or two. Be prepared. The building directly in front of us is our information center. They have a lot of pamphlets that'll tell you a little bit more about the mountain, some of the trails, and about the tram. If you take the red walkway to your left, you will make it to the High Finance restaurant. They have wonderful food. They also have a bar. On a serious note, I know this from experience. I got married going up this tram. If you drink, you will not feel it up here. I had about 7 shots and a couple mixed drinks. Got to the bottom, somebody hit me with a brick in the back of the head. Still had my wedding reception with over 200 people to go to. Trams leave every 15 minutes. This one will leave right away. The next one will be up in 15. You do not have to be on the next one down. Last call down will be between 9:30 and 10, depending on how many people we have up here. I recommend being on the last one down. If not, it is a 10-mile hike back in the dark with the mountain lion and the bear. And here comes those bumps I was talking about.
I'm sleeping this man out there.
We will experience one more as we hit those bumpers right in front of us. Hope I didn't bore you folks.